better Nigeria? Is it a myth or do we keep hoping?
Nigeria is a highly religious country. How come corruption thrives?
Why is adoption not encouraged in Nigeria?
Is there a future for the Nigerian youth?
Being rich and famous, is that the only drive to be an artist?
What makes a great nation? Is it the leaders? What about the people?
This is Answers with Dr. Reju.
Happy New Year, everyone. This is Answers with Dr. Reju, where critical life issues are clarified. My name is Obi, and once again, I'd like to wish everyone a Happy New Year. 2015 was a blast, and I'm sure 2016 will be even better. We'd like to say thank you to all our listeners, those who hung out with us every Friday by 5 p.m., who listened to the things that we had to say here, and better still, those who put most of them into practice. We also want to say thank you to our sponsors, Grand Cereals, for the time that they've spent with us, and to everyone, Happy New Year once again. And so also we want to wish the panelists and the one and only Dr. Reju a wonderful New Year. Isaac, Happy New Year. Great to see you again. Matthew, great to see you again. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, Obi.
Dr. Reju, is always wonderful seeing you.
Happy New Year, Obi.
Yeah, thank you. Matthew.
Well, Dr. Reju, with what you've said, I have been really thinking about asking you, questions in regards to the just market, because looking at the problem we're having now with the value of crude, we realize that the Federal Reserve is actually dwindling. We don't really have money to allocate sufficient, resources to the state governments to be, to cater to salaries and all that. Now, it therefore puts pressure on most of the states, to see how they can internally generate revenue.
Absolutely.
Now, for JOS, we have the market. Yeah, and I was wondering, how do you think we can revamp that project to generate revenue?
It's so wonderful that you're bringing that up. It's always been on my mind. Every time I drive past that place and I see that, it's an eyesore. And from the records that are available to me, as at the time the JOS market was functioning, it got burnt when? 2001. As at that time, I gathered that JOS market generates about 10 million naira to the state government every month. And you imagine the value of 10 million naira in 2001. That would be like $10 million, or maybe like 5.
Yeah, okay.
That's a huge amount of money. So fast forward 2015, 2016. What that place will have been generating, so it's now absolutely necessary that state governments, part of the things that I said about defective, foundation is that state governors are just salary earners. They go to Abuja every month to go and collect salaries and then come and pay salaries. But that's not going to be forthcoming, so they need to look inwards. And one particular place that is begging, because the government really doesn't need to spend a dime. They don't need to spend a dime to reactivate that place. There will be private concerns, private enterprises that will want to take it up, build it, give the government a bit of, maybe what they call build, manage, and transfer, or something like that. Build, operate, and transfer. But even while you have built and you are operating, the state government we want to be able to get by. Can we have a percentage of what, you guys are? So they don't need to spend a dime. And that market is such a, I mean, even if you so make it a park, not another market.
Yeah.
Just something that will generate income back, here. So because the oil is being projected that oil price will continue to dwindle until 2020, until 2020. Yeah, it's still going to, because now America has they've lifted the ban on oil exportation that has been for 20 years. So there's going to be a glut. So that area of income is going to keep dwindling. So state governments need to really look inwards. And that is a cash cow, the way we call it in economics.
Yeah.
The JOS market is a cash cow. If this state government is wise, they need to revisit that and begin to think. And they need to consult. There are many people who will be willing to offer services even free of charge for them to be able to reactivate that place.
So from what you're saying now,
Yeah.
you are certainly advocating government to put money in things that generate money.
Absolutely. You see,
not in
and
things
they
that
are there. Even if it's, and first of all, maybe things need to get regulated. Let me make a confession here. Because people are going to be talking about tax, about all those kind of things. When I go to Ahmadu Bello Way, I'm making a confession here. When I go to Ahmadu Bello Way and I want to park, I don't pay those guys. Because I'm not sure the money is getting to the right place. I don't pay them. The principle is this: if citizens will doubt that their tax will not work, there will be no motivation to pay tax. Now, that might be criminal, but there is no structure, no infrastructure, no system that makes I don't know those guys. I don't know them. Where are they coming from? Everybody just come with all manner of receipts and all those kind of things. I don't see how that money plays out. Where is the parking? Where is the structure? They need to regulate those things properly. And when you collect tax, you must be ready to actually make it work. The Fashola era in Lagos, people were already paying tax. They were already citizens will pay tax if they know it will work. So the first thing government has to earn is integrity.
Okay.
They need to earn trust again, that they can be trusted. If that is there, it honestly, state governments don't need to go anywhere. Every state government, they have within themselves what can actually generate revenue for them. Citizens will pay. Imagine how much we pay on buying cards, buying airtime. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. So there is no other way now. We need to have state governments who are thinking, local governments that are thinking, and that's the way out. I mean, there is no other. And citizens must now choose to be on the right side. They must be prepared for this. They must be prepared to work. They need to see dignity of labor. That work doesn't give you status. You give status to work. It doesn't matter what you do. You carry dirt. You do it with pride and whatever is able to put food on your table. It's something that you should dignify. That's so key going forward, because in Africa we still look at, no, I can't be a car wash person. I cannot be. I know small businesses in this town. In fact, if I mention his name now, it'll be like free advert. I don't want to. Nothing is free in Freetown. I know that guy was my neighbor. He started in a small cubicle. In a small cubicle. If I describe it too much, people might know him. He started in a small cubicle. Today he has a whole compound.
Doing what?
Photography.
Okay.
It was my neighbor.
Yeah.
It was my neighbor. I knew when he started in a small garage. Today, the guy is a household name. I know that guy. He has the right. In fact, I met the guy who loaned him 250,000 naira. I met him. He's my friend. Who loaned this guy 250K to start right in this town. That guy today, I think, no. I mean, people know him. This person I'm talking about.
Yeah.
If you have any frame photograph if you have 5, maybe the guy made 2.
2 for you.
So it's there. There's money in this town. There are resources in this town, wasting, begging to be harnessed, and that's all over the country. We are there right now. I'm so excited. I pray oil continues to dwindle. Yeah, there was a time in this country when we didn't have oil. There was a time. People need to go into farming. People need to go into all manner of things, tailoring. But we need to first of all adjust what status is. This is the time, because we've been shouting SMEs and we are looking to bank. Honestly, it's not going to be about capital. It's going to be about thinking.
Wow. Can you say that again?
It's not going to be about capital. It's going to be about thinking.
Because
the capital now is your thinking.
It's your thinking.
That's right.
Because, we know. I mean, when people talk about wanting to get into business, everybody always talks about the absence of capital, but there's a reason why the capital has not flown yet, because for many of them who have been given capital, they have not used it well.
Yeah.
So what is the gap there?
We don't have a country or a system where entrepreneurship is encouraged. And having said that, we now know that it is not encouraged, right? But we know that there's something called entrepreneurship. So why don't we have it internally generated? And that ties into what Isaac said about making demands on government. If I have an idea in my head and the system, the environment works against me, it should produce an anger. I'm not talking about, rebelling against government. I'm not talking about violence or all those kind of things. But there's a way you can engage in accurate civil disobedience for the sake of the dreams inside you to find expression. It's if there is a whole movement making demands for that. Because without oil, with the little that we have, the government is talking about reducing recurrent expenditure, and when the public hears about recurrent expenditure, they are thinking about too many people working in government. And let me tell you, those who are not working in government, former politicians, some hangers-on, who don't even have an office, they are 10 times in number that the government still has to keep servicing. They just live on government largesse. They are not doing anything. They just wake up and stretch their legs and watch TV or doing whatever, and they get paid free money from government. They are in number. They are more than 10 times. Take that aside. Look at ghost workers. If I heard recently that ghost workers is just the tip of the iceberg, there are ghost institutions. Wow. Institution that does not exist, that gets allocation every month. There are schools that doesn't exist in some states that on record they have teachers. They don't exist. So the level of wastage, we're still paying lip service to it. So there is enough to go around. And let me go into banks. Because there are no banks in Nigeria. I said that on one of the episodes there. We only have vaults. And many of them, their vaults are drying up. So there is a lot. If citizens will think, if they will take advantage of even the imperfect environment and begin to really think and be adventurous, the government itself will see that if we don't do something, we will become irrelevant. Because I said it on one of the episodes here that we can't have any political, ethnic, whatever revolution in Nigeria. We are too diverse. There will never be an agreement for a revolution. The only revolution that can happen in this country, which I'm excited about, is economic. It's an economic revolution. And that economy, we're not going to fight anybody. We're going to fight. Individuals will fight themselves. Yeah. I said, now I need to survive. I need to overcome this challenge. Something has to come out of here. So it's latent in all of us. The potential is immense. But we're still looking for somebody to come and do something for us. Really, we are really looking for ourselves.
Mm-hmm. It's a cold winter morning in Jos City, but in the studio it's getting to over 100 degrees. So let's take a break. Let's bring it down a little and hear from our sponsors.
There are cooking oils and there are cooking oils, Of course. There are those that foam like soap when you put them on fire. And there are those that go to sleep after a few days. There are even those with funny odors that make neighbors wonder what's happening in your kitchen.
I beg, don't kill me, oh.
But then again, there is Grand Pure Soya Oil, made from pure soya seed. Grand Pure Soya Oil is cholesterol-free, which makes it ideal for the heart and health conscious. It neither foams nor fumes, neither does it congeal even at low temperature. Grand Pure Soya Oil is also endorsed by the Nigerian Heart Foundation as heart-friendly oil.
Let me go and get my own Grand Pure Soya Oil, Joe. Oil that doesn't smell or sleep.
Grand Pure Soya Oil, a heart-friendly oil you've always known.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Answers with Dr. Reju, and it's been 100 degrees here in the studio. Before we went on the break, Matthew, you had something to say.
Yeah, I actually wanted to ask this before the break, but, well, the opportunity is here. So, taking you back to the issue of tax.
Yeah.
I've, been able to confirm from different people in Jos that whenever they're given a bill from the government to pay tax, they try as much as possible. There's an opportunity to negotiate, to negotiate the amount of tax they pay. And, looking at this, I don't know, what do you think about...
That's the reason why I said I won't pay that guy who just walked up to me on Amadubele Way to ask me to pay something for parking. Number one, I don't know the source of the receipt. I don't know who authorized him. So I understand exactly what you're talking about because it has happened. They've brought, rates to the office, and all those kind of things. And then there's a small office, they give you 60 million naira. I remember there was a place I was working in Lagos years ago, and they brought that kind of thing. And the manager said, how many zeros are we going to remove? You see, the issue here is if the government is talking about this tax, IGR, there's no sincerity of purpose yet. And that takes me back to what I've been saying in this, on this program, on other fora about until I begin to hear something from the government about having a comprehensive national database, we are not going to make any meaningful progress. First of all, we need to know how many we are, where we are, right, and what we do. So the tax I'm going to pay is not going to be news to me because I receive a bill. I should know. I shouldn't be discussing, negotiating with an individual an official from the revenue office. Yeah. It should be something that everybody knows, right? It should. We live in the IT world, for God's sake. Why should somebody bring an invoice for tax to my office? It is still lack of sincerity. Because if you know the avenues, there's a time in this country, growing up in a village in this country, if you have a TV, there is a rate to pay. Yeah. But you see, what we do in Nigeria, because you see, oil has been our curse. It's a curse, and I believe that curse is being removed now. That curse is being removed, that oil curse. So it's going to be something that is known. It's not, right now it's just individualistic. When that office was starting, when it was being set up, what went into that whole process? From the time a company is incorporated, registered with CAC, the purpose is stated, there is a memo, an article, and all those kind of things. That is the point at which the tax that company is going to be paying is determined, because they know the kind of business, they have a projected kind of income, and all those kind of things. And as the income increases, the tax increases. They've already set the parameters there. It's not about somebody bringing a bill, bringing an invoice. It's not done. That's lack of seriousness. Because do you know how many companies are registered with the CAC? I think we need to find out. We need to check how many companies are registered, how many companies are in operation, and how many of those who are in operation pay tax. And then what is the tax? Because what's the tax being used for? Like the question Isaac asked. We see, like in this country, every year we start on a zero-based budget. What happened to last year? It's a zero-based budget, and we said that last year's budget was 65% implemented. What happened to the 35%? So why can't we have carry forward? Simple accounting. Why can't we have carry forward? He asked a very vital question. Some cars were sold as scrap, as they've already been written off the books and things like that. Where did the money go to? If you want to spend 40 billion to buy new cars, it should be 40 billion less how much we sold those cars for. So we don't ask all those kind of questions. So first of all, if people are talking about tax, it's not just about appointing a technocrat for FIRS, right? It is about, let us look at the infrastructure to generate income via tax. For me, it starts with knowing where we are, who we are, what we do. How many are we? So that you can make projections based on that. For most state governments, the only people that they can tax are civil servants. That's the only people they have, a record of. Every other business just spring up. There is no, and then one local government guy is passing by, he sees a signboard. Next week, he brings a receipt. He brings an invoice. It won't work that way. You can't, that tells me we are still not serious about it. You can't negotiate the tax that you want to pay. It's fixed. It's stated. It's known. It's public knowledge. It's public knowledge, because the highest crime you can commit in the Western nation is tax-oriented. If you don't pay tax, you are the utmost. And I remember, Obi, in this country, in 1979 election, Awolowo was standing for election. Azikiwe was standing for election. Awolowo accused Azikiwe of evading tax. That means at that time we had records. He accused Azikiwe had to come bring records to prove that it was a lie. You know, I was the way it was being couched and all those kind of things, and they discovered that, well, it was one company who has his name on the director. We don't want, but the point I'm making now is there were records.
Yeah.
At one point, we just deviated.
Absolutely.
We just went off track. We need to get back there.
Yeah.
And I think we need thinking, as I'm advocating for thinking citizens, we need thinking government too. We need, because it's there.
Yeah. Isaac?
Well, so on the issue of responsibility of the citizens.
Yeah, you are still on that point.
Yeah. Honestly, how do we get reorientated for a citizen to know, to have, do I not say having a pity for a nation?
You know, there's something that Patutomi said, that he was discussing with an American professor, and he said that Nigerian problem is the government. That Nigerians will be better if at the beginning of every year, there's one individual, maybe from the CBN, they look at how much we have gotten from oil and they write checks to all Nigerians. That Nigerians will be better off because they can manage, because that's what is happening. Every home in Nigeria is a government. You have your security,
Yes.
you have your power company,
Yes.
you have your,
water.
you drill your borehole. Every home is a government. That Nigerians will be better off if they just, the CBN governor, the only work he does is at the beginning, January 1st, you just write checks, based on age, based on, just write checks and distribute. The point, the issue in that point, or the point in that point is this, that Nigerians don't know that the money that government spend is their own. They have not come to the awareness that when they hear, how much is the budget for this year?
6 trillion.
6.08 trillion. Nigerians, that money belongs to you. Right? The money in the CBN vault belongs to us. We don't know that. They say it's government money. It's not government money. It is the citizens' money, because the citizen is the government. That's the, if somebody come, it's like if the government just spend that money anyhow, it's like somebody picking your pocket. It's like somebody stealing the money in your account. It is as basic as that. We don't know yet that money is our money. I told somebody in traffic once, he was driving a government vehicle and was driving anyhow and wanted to sort of, the way they drive in traffic. And I said, you're driving my car and you're still giving me trouble on the road. The guy looked at me, but that car is mine. You see, the money is it's like our inheritance. That all of us, we have a stake in it. We have a stake. That's why in developed countries, every citizen has a right to live. Because the government has been able, the country has been able to generate enough resources that even when you don't work temporarily or by age or by whatever. I was discussing with a friend of mine in the US, he turned 65. He said, now I'm an officially old man. He was joking. I said, what does that mean? He said, from today, my health bill is free. I no longer pay transportation. If I'm going to fly to any destination within this country, I now begin to pay seniors rate. If I go to any park, I have seniors rate. If you're in the UK, I think by the time you attain the age of 60 or so, they give you what they call a freedom pass. You no longer pay transport. You know how much you're saving? But you know what? You have contributed.
Yeah.
All the years you've been working, you've contributed to the common purse. So that money is ours. That's the point I'm trying to make. But we can't begin to mount meaningful, sustained pressure until we first of all understand that. Buhari, the president, we gave him the power, right? It's ours. We can take it. There's a process of recall for your senator. For those are the kind of, you see, today in this country, we need political education. It needs to come back to primary school curriculum, secondary school curriculum. That's why at the beginning of this year, I recommended the book to all Nigerians, especially the young ones. I said, you need to read that book. You need to go. So that, because we don't have a sense of history. So to actually anchor that point on this, whatever the country, the road is ours. Right? That road. If you understand that, then there's a way you use it. There's a way you use it. You can't, and again, Nigerians, I just gave the example of the freedom pass, somebody turned 65. You need to be ready to pay for services. We don't even understand this issue of, because we are still talking about, they want to hike tariff, the price of fuel is going. We need to be prepared to pay for services. If you want good roads, we need to be prepared to pay, You can't say you won't pay tolls on road. You pay the toll and then wait for whosoever collects the toll that it won't fix the pothole. Then you will see you're off. Right? So it's which one first? Is it the egg or the chicken? Right?
The classic, problem that doesn't have a solution.
Yes. But the point is everybody must be ready. But I believe, I'll take it from, let citizens pay.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And let them begin to follow their money. Let them follow their money. Let there be a willingness to pay. Because the government is going to ask. They're going to ask. Then let them follow their money. So that's the way. You can't. In America, they even give up roads for adoption. Right? To private companies. Blue chip companies. Adopt this road. Right? And maintain it. You can charge a minimum toll. That's the way it's going to work. And then you pay toll on that road. And then one day you are driving and your car runs into one pothole and you get what you are going to get back from that company. Because there's a legal system that works. There is an advocacy system that works. It's also, it's everybody that needs to get involved with it. But I believe that there must be a readiness for citizens to be responsible citizens. Then we can begin to produce accountable government.
There must be a time when we have responsible citizens who demand government accountability.
Absolutely.
This has been riveting stuff from Dr. Reju. We say thank you, sir. Thank you, Matthew. Thank you, Isaac, for a wonderful time.
Give us a call or chat us on WhatsApp on 081-4456-9000. Check out our website and interact with us on www.answerswithdrreju.com. Like our Facebook page, Answers with Dr. Reju, or send us an email at answerswithdrreju@gmail.com. On Twitter, we are @DrRejuAnswers. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, Answers with Dr. Reju, where you can get all our episodes. Join us again on Answers with Dr. Reju, where critical life issues are clarified.